Hello, darling! Fuck this British shit. Nah. Fuck. Fuck tea, fuck the Brits, it's the 4th of July, and today is the one day I get to be unashamedly patriotic, and shit on England. So, that's what I'm gonna do. Also, I kinda made a world that, is basically, what if we got bombed back to the Iron Age? Talk about America. I don't give a shit if the flag is blocking out my green screen and you have to deal with a poorly cropped image of the American flag instead of, nice background. Fuck you. Now, you might be wondering, hey, that's great and all, but who the fuck are you? Yeah, hi, my name is Alexander. I have really niche interests in history, and I also write novels. If you want to read some of my stuff, none of it's out yet, because I'm still querying. But I have a website with some of my projects that might be, well, if it doesn't get published traditionally in a year, I might throw it up on like Amazon or something. But that's not important. That's not important. But I might have to split this video in 2 parts because it's looking to be really fucking long. So if you want to see the second part of this, we'll call it a schizo rant. Be sure to hit the buttons, the subscribe one and the notification one to get the thing when I upload the second one, and also because it'd be real cool of you and very American. You see this video? You see all these videos? I like all these videos. They are all made by the same guy, Whatifalthist, and the main one, what if America had a medieval age? I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was so good in fact, that I decided to make the world he proposed and write a book about it because I'm out of ideas. We're gonna go through in this video the process and challenges of actually making the world, the story behind the world, and like the history. We're gonna and then I'm gonna go through every single faction that I made up for this clusterfuck of a world building project. So yeah, it's gonna be little bit of history, a little bit of geography, a little bit of made-up bullshit that if you feel so inclined, you can call lore. As many memes as I can shove into this so I can keep your TikTok attention spans on this clusterfuck. I killed the sun?
I want to make clear this is an impossible alternate dimension.
Bullshit, Rudyard. I made the thing. Yeah, I had to, like, half-ass most of it and explain a shit ton of, like, unexplainable stuff with magic and a giant demon sea serpent that is the manifestation of envy and anxiety, but I still made it. Now, when I say, what if America had a medieval age, you can kind of make this scenario happen in one of 3 ways. you can do it in two normal ways, and you can do it in one bullshit way. The two normal ways are you can take a point in time in history and divert it from actual history and make like an alternate history spiral that goes and creates a whole other like thing. The second thing you can do is take the world we have now and nuke it, and then you can take the post-apocalyptic ashes and construct some kind of like medieval approximation out of that. But you have to account for stuff like, oh, well, all the technology that we had in the modern world already exists and still is like lying around somewhere, so people aren't just gonna like forget gunpowder. Or you can do it the bullshit way, which is you introduce fantasy into the mix, and you make a giant demon sea serpent that is the manifestation of every emotion that is destroying American society, and make it destroy in American society. I did it a third way. So I did it I have an explanation, okay? I did it the third way because there were some things I had a very precise vision for what I wanted this world to be, and I wanted to have some kind of explanation for it. Because if you took the alternate history approach and you sent it like you sent the timeline to somewhere else, you don't get like specific American like subgroups. Like you don't get the Mormons. Probably. Like, you could still make the Mormons, but it's not going to be, like, our Mormons, you know? It's not going to quite be right. My solution to this was to do it the second way, where I take modern American society that has all our demographics and subcultures and blow it up. But problem there. I don't want gunpowder to be involved at all, except for like there's like one faction that gets gunpowder, and it's real shit gunpowder. But basically, so there's a problem there. So I needed to get rid of all the American infrastructure, all the technology, all that. So I made Leviathan. So the story I ended up making has like, there are three things I needed to do for this world in order to make it work to my ends, and I just described one of them, and that was I needed for the most part, modern American subcultures and demographics to be the state of the United States. But my second thing that I needed was Native Americans. The population of America is like 1% native, and that is not nearly enough for what I wanted to do with this, so I needed some way to make the Native American population explode. I'm sure you're finding these explosion jokes more and more funny each time I do them. Third and final thing I needed to do was I needed some kind of like historical parallel to base the story, because I'm just making this world. I have no idea what kind of book I want to write about this, and for a while that was like the thing that was stopping me from making this. So what I ended up doing is taking a page out of Game of Thrones book, pun intended, and creating, like, taking a historical situation and just like grafting it on to this world. And I think it worked pretty well.
In order to be born, you needed 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents, 16 second-great-grandparents, 32 third-great-grandparents, 64 fourth-great-grandparents, 128 fifth-great-grandparents, 256 sixth great-grandparents, 512 seventh great-grandparents, 1,024 eighth great-grandparents. You needed a total of 4,094 ancestors over the last 400 years. Think for a moment. How many struggles? How many battles? How many difficulties? How much sadness? How much happiness? How many love stories? How many expressions of hope for the future did your ancestors have to undergo for you to exist in this present moment? And you want to be a femboy slut?
So here's like a rundown of the history, and I'll show you how I hit each of the things that I needed for the status quo of the world that I wanted before we, get into like factions and whatnot. So basically, America, like our America, you know it, you love it.
Oh God, fucking damn it. No, Jesus Christ.
What?
We defaulted on our debt.
The fuck you mean we defaulted on our debt?
We defaulted on our fucking debt.
I thought the Treasury took care of that last month.
No, I kind of forgot. You see, there was this balloon.
Joe, we have no more fucking money.
Sure we do. What about the $2.3 trillion were buried in the Rockies before we did 9/11?
We spent it all.
On what?
Afghanistan.
Depends on who you are. Regular America, which for the purposes of this video, everyone after us knows us as the Old Republic, so I'm going to refer to it as that, or I might just slip up, in which case pretend I refer to it as that. But the Old Republic gets into the Third World War. And, America has the largest military on the planet. We have the two largest air forces on the planet. One is our Air Force, the other is our Navy Air Force. War's not a problem for us, alright? We spent 20 years at war. We lost, but... So, the Third World War goes fairly well for the Americans, considering our opponents are China, Russia, who has proven to be an incompetent boob of a country when it comes to military matters. And Iran. So, it's not that big. Yeah, it's a big deal because it's the Third World War, but it's not, a huge deal for your average American. You aren't in danger of getting, slaughtered or kidnapped and sold into slavery or, any of the other fun wartime activities soldiers partake in. So, things are going pretty well, except this is where the giant anxiety and envy demon comes in, called Leviathan. There's this sea monster that comes out of the Pacific Ocean, that is the embodiment of everything that is killing the American spirit, and kills the American spirit, and starts a civil war. Number two. This one is not about states' rights or what the states' rights were for.
Oh, way down south in the land of traitors, rattlesnakes and alligators. Right away, come away, right away, come away.
The giant demon Leviathan is less actual physical threat and is more of a corrupting influence, a la the One Ring from Lord of the Rings sort of thing, kind of Tiamat analog that is holds a mother of monsters role. So she starts pumping out monsters and putting them on the continent to ravage the land, and sparking civil war in the country. And this devastates the country, because all their military is all out abroad fighting. Its people are fighting with each other, which means the war machine slows down, and it's just not. It's a bad time. It's a bad time for everyone. People finally get their shit together after like a couple decades of this war, after everything's already been destroyed, and they're like, oh shit, maybe it was the giant like emotional demon in the Pacific that's been making us fight. Let's kill it. So everyone puts their differences aside, comes together in a last alliance.
There were some who resisted. A last alliance of men and elves marched against the armies of Mordor, and on the slopes of Mount Doom, they fought for the freedom of Middle-earth.
And marches off to the west coast, where they fight and defeat Leviathan. They don't kill her, because she goes back into the sea, but it's gone. It's finally over. Except all your infrastructure, industrialized capacity, all your like modern technology is all gone. It's all gone. It's dead. There's no one who knows how to run a power station anymore. And also everyone's like de-urbanizing after that whole fiasco. They're all going off to like small villages and farms and shit. So it's real hard to like support that kind of infrastructure. And that's how I hand wave technology away. I tried. In the aftermath of this, I still have two. Not enough Native Americans. No technology. Yeah. I still have two problems. I don't have enough Native Americans, and I still need a historical situation to copy. That third one, or second now, is pretty easy, because America's just collapsed. Giant empire, gone, that once ruled over an entire continent. This is just the European Dark Ages. I'm just doing the European Dark Ages and the Carolingian Empire. Like, nearly beat for beat. So after America collapses, there are a couple things to like make known that are kind of important. So first, without modern technology, specifically air conditioning, half the country is fucking awful to live in. And then there are places that are too hot and too dry, so you can't grow shit. And that leaves you with the Great Basin and that whole place just being unlivable, except around like Salt Lake and like the Rio Grande Basin, which the Rio Grande is a shit river, all right, in terms of like the amount of water it puts out every year. It's not great. Everything from like California to Texas in the Southwest is uninhabitable, except by like a couple nomadic herder tribes and some irrigation states. But we'll get into that with the factions. Second, the Great Plains is unfarmable. The Great Plains soil is so fertile and so thick that we in our real time could not farm it until we invented a new plow for it. Because it was so fucking thick. It's also a giant swath of grassland. And I don't know about y'all, but when I see giant swath of grassland, and when Rudyard sees giant swath of grassland, I think cowboy longboards. Last thing we need to note is disease. Disease is a problem again, because without antibiotics and without modern medical technology, the South sucks ass. Thought I heard footsteps. The South sucks ass for anyone who's not from the South, who doesn't have like tropical disease immunity. So you can't go the all the tropical regions of the South are gonna see a lot larger like black majority because of like because the South is still gonna have like a race problem. It's just gonna be more of an even playing field because of disease. So the places that have tropical diseases are gonna be more suited for people of African descent. People who are of European descent are going to concentrate more in like the Piedmont region of the South, which is a lot less swampy and death. Though that being said, neither of them can go north because they will die of typhoid and pneumonia and other like cold diseases. But yeah, those are the three like natural world things. Well, there are some others, but those are the three big ones that kind of alter how this world's gonna shape up. Yeah. Now we can get into the story of how I repopulated the continent with Native Americans. That makes it sound like I fucked like that makes it sound like I Genghis Khan my way across the American continent. I did not. Someone else did.
In my heart, I'm a Mongoloid. That is what I am. We are a horde. That is what we are. Yes, we are that. We are 100% that.
That's not something to be proud of.
It is something to be proud of.
So, after the fall of America, after the fall of the Old Republic, everyone in the West goes home. And then the Navajo arrive. The Navajo, who are a group of Native American tribes that are in the Southwest, once upon a time in history, stole a bunch of horses from the Spanish. It went pretty well for them. Okay, this is editing, Alex. I fucked it up. The Navajo are not the ones who first yoinked a bunch of horses from the Spanish and gave them to the other Great Plains tribes. That was the Comanche. But I'm sticking with Navajo because I think in the modern day they are one of, if not the most populous of the Native American reservations. So we're still running with that, but I fucked up the history a little bit. It was the Comanche. They're gonna do that again. So the Navajo burst out of the Southwest with new horses and just breeze through Cascadia and take all of it and start a country called the Western Republic after the Old Republic, as like a sort of last-ditch Justinian-esque effort to reconstitute the empire. They evade most of the Great Basin, but they do take the Rio Grande River Basin and the Colorado River Basin and storm into the Great Plains, and this is where they really pop off because horses and grassy plains mix very, very well. So they storm through the Great Plains and hit the Oklahomans, the Oklahoma Indian reservations, and that is when I made a population boom start. So we have a bunch, an explosion of population for the Native Americans, and they storm up through the Great Plains all the way to the banks of the Mississippi. And then they cross the Mississippi, and things start going very bad for them. Once they cross the Mississippi, it kind of goes well at first, because the other side of the Mississippi is generally pretty flat, generally pretty grassy. Except now they're encountering castles. And horse archers are very, very bad for sieges. That is why for the Mongols and Tamerlane and all those horse people who raped Asia They had other people do sieges for them because their horses suck ass at climbing walls. Who would have thunk? The war comes to pretty much a standstill as the Eastern kingdoms kind of unite with each other to push back the Navajo invasions. And this kind of puts a strain on the treasury of a country that hasn't really been created yet. They've more so just been subsisting off of conquest. So, because it can't, the giant fuck that is the Western Republic kind of just snaps, and then
Start? I don't feel so good.
dissolves. It gets Thanos dusted into oblivion, and now there's a bunch of Native Americans everywhere who end up assimilating to local cultures and local Native American cultures. This is how I bullshit my way into like 30% of the population being Native American. It makes sense. So, the primary part of our history begins after the fall of the Western Republic, and now everything's in chaos. Everything is in absolute chaos. Everyone's either at war, moving to a farm, or some in between of that. And what you get, at least on the east of the Mississippi, is a ton of bandit kings, which are basically just the Germanic kingdoms from the Dark Ages. I once heard someone explain to me why they hated the Dark... I love late antiquity, okay? I love that shit. But someone explained to me that they really hated late antiquity. And they said it was because, all these kingdoms just go around, like, robbing and killing each other, and all they do is just exploit their people for as much money as they're worth until they die. And it's like organized crime, but for kingdoms. And I was like, that's fucking awesome. The comparison of organized crime to the dark of like where it was basically just the Dark Ages was just a bunch of mafia kingdoms. That, I don't know, to me that sounds pretty cool. So that's basically what happens for the next few hundred years on the east of the Mississippi. It's a lot of people with big armies conquer a huge swath of land. They tax the hell out of it. They get all the wealth and resources they can accumulate, and then they die. And then someone else with an army comes in and kills them, and then does the same thing. And it's called the Age of the Bandit Kings, because that's what they are. It's pretty self-explanatory. But, see, after the invasion of the Western Republic into the east of the Mississippi, there was one place that they couldn't go because of disease and swampy bullshit, and that is the Gulf Coast. Because the Gulf Coast is also a swampy hellhole for anyone who might want to, do a bandit king to the south. The Gulf Coast has a pretty consistent leadership under this group of people called the Beaumonts. The South's ruling class are going to be very French. Cajun French, which is like cool French, because I think they were all criminals before or something like that. Anyways, they come to this Beaumont family comes to power claiming heritage from a general from the last alliance who had a son with one of Leviathan's daughters. I don't know how that's supposed to work, and I don't think they know either. But they claim lineage from this, like, sea monster, essentially. Very much like the Merovingian dynasty. But they come to power in New Orleans, who is at the crux of the Mississippi River and the Caribbean Sea, which, that's a lot of trade. And they consolidate their power around the Gulf Coast, and then they kind of slowly, their crown slowly loses power until a seat called the Prime Elector is the one who's actually running the country. And eventually, people get tired of the charade and just oust the Beaumonts because they don't do anything. Prime Elector of the last Beaumont king decides to become king himself of the Gulf Coast. And or at this point they call it Arcadia because I think that's the name for a region in Louisiana, which is also a way cooler name than, well, any others I could find. Anyway, this guy Abelard founds a new dynasty on the Gulf Coast and continues to consolidate its power and reorganize the military, because now that the Western Republic is gone, there's a huge power vacuum in the East. So his son Zephyrin, which I found out is I don't know how truthful Cajun name generators are, but it was a pretty cool name I stumbled across through that. So after Abelard dies, his son Zephyrin takes the throne, and this is going to be our Charlemagne. And he founds the Zephyrian dynasty. And just starts fucking metaphorically, not literally. He conquers pretty much the Texas part of the Gulf Coast, subjugates the Rio Grande Catholic League, and installs the Catholic Church as a theocracy that kind of watches the West for them in case, the horse lords get any funny ideas. He storms into the Piedmont region, takes over the South, and conquers up the Atlantic coast to Chesapeake Bay, skipping over North Carolina's own personal Florida. There he makes an alliance with New England, at this point called New Brithonia. And they make an agreement to help each other conquer the Midwest at some point down the line. Zephyrin gets crowned president in New York because they forgot that Washington, D.C. was the capital of the United States, and they also forgot that the president was not a king because it's been like 400 years. Zephyrin gets crowned, takes his army to the Cumberland Pass through Appalachia, because Appalachia is kind of a problem here in that mountains and the people there really don't want him there. They're all Scots-Irish descended forest tribes who kick ass with a club. But he finds the Cumberland Pass, goes through the Cumberland Pass, and starts conquering the Midwest, which is pretty rural, filled by like German Iroquois fusion culture people. I know that the word, the term that is preferred for Iroquois is Haudenosaunee, but I feel like I say I mention them so many times that trying to say it all those times is gonna make me want to die. So I'm gonna use Iroquois and Haudenosaunee interchangeably. I'm gonna use Iroquois more. Anyways, Zephyrin storms into the Midwest through the Cumberland Pass and takes over the area with the help of the powerful navies of New England or New Brithonia, who take over the St. Lawrence Bay, St. Lawrence River, and start pillaging the areas around the Great Lakes to distract the Midwesterners as Zephyrin comes and takes over the place. And now sandwiched between two massive chunks of land that are part of the same empire, Appalachia has to fold. Even though they're within their mountain range, they essentially just come under like de facto rule by the fucking bugs and shit. They become a de facto part of the empire. After this tag team of the Midwest, Zephyrin is crowned Emperor of Columbia in Boston, and is married to a New Englander princess. So the New Englanders get a marriage alliance, free passage through the empire, and they get to keep the lands around the St. Lawrence River. And that's sort of what they get out of the deal. Zephyrin obviously gets the Midwest and gets crowned emperor. Basically, everything east of the Mississippi belongs to Zephyrin. So he takes the next 10 or so years to kind of consolidate his power, and he does conquer Florida, and uses it to send a couple shipments of colonists to the Florida Keys, to Cuba and San Domingo, which is where like Haiti and the Dominican Republic are. And he just kind of takes 10 years to settle down for a little bit, consolidate his empire, and then he decides he's not done. After 10 years, he goes across the Mississippi, and he starts conquering the western part of the Mississippi Basin, conquers through the Red River, the Arkansas River. He just keeps going until he gets shot in the face with an arrow, finally, and then he dies. So the Zephyrian armies are forced to return back to the First Empire. All their western gains pretty much just like disappear with the crowning of the next emperor, who is Zephyrin's son. He kind of has a nothing reign compared to his dad. He just does more to try and integrate the pieces of the empire and like reorganize it. He splits it into 3 parts, which is the south, also called Arcadia, the middle, Appalachia, and the north, which they give they just call Ohio, the entire region. This is totally not because I just want one giant Ohioan empire. Definitely not. But, yeah. So, his son dies and has 3 sons to inherit the throne. And those 3 are Enrique, who inherits Appalachia as well. And at this point in time, Appalachia contains a small part of former Louisiana, which has like New Orleans and the capital in it, as well as Chesapeake Bay. So he inherits Appalachia. His brother, I don't know how to pronounce this name. I'm shit at French. And it just kind of look cool. Someone who speaks French, tell me how to pronounce it. But this guy inherits Arcadia minus New Orleans and a bit of the Gulf Coast, and then the youngest son, Gregor, who he takes a Germanic name, takes over the north. Because Enrique is the oldest son, he inherits the imperial title, so he tries to bring the other 2 brothers into the fold with him, but it doesn't really work out for him too well because he's sandwiched in the middle of 2 massive kingdoms, so he eats shit, which brings the story of the First Empire to an end because it will never be united again. That took 40 minutes. What the fuck? Okay, I thought I was gonna at least get through like the east of the factions east of the Mississippi, but I guess not. It has been the video is 40 minutes long. I can't do I can't cram more into one video. That's, oh God. Okay. Okay. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. I'll shove the Eastern Mississippi factions in with the Western Mississippi factions and just do one big faction video. If that doesn't also go longer than like 40 minutes. And we'll end it here. We'll end it here. All right. I hope you've enjoyed my ramblings so far. I have much more to come, it seems. I'm thinking I might do more of this kind of like world building stuff. I don't know. I'm just gonna post whatever I feel like. I'm so done with this video. Okay, just hit the buttons. Hit the buttons. Do follow the socials. This in the description. Yeah. Okay, I'm done. All right. Bye.